Hey everyone, welcome to Blue Leaf Learning's YouTube video series called Growing Hope. The intention behind the series was to provide professional development to the ladies and gentlemen who work in orphanages and children's homes. Why? Because these facilities often are very underfunded and they can't afford to have professional development training as regularly as other schools. But the children still deserve good, high quality education. So this is our way to give back to the community. I'm so excited we are doing video number 2 today. Thank you so much for everyone who watched the first video and gave me comments and feedbacks. Please, I'm learning this as well, so we will definitely grow and get better as we continue. But yeah, grab a pen and paper and let's get going. So just a quick recap on what we're doing. We're focusing on the South African National Curriculum Framework. It's a framework that covers the age group from 0 to 4 years old. Our particular video series is focusing on babies and toddlers. As you can see, there are 6 ELDAs or early learning development areas. We are currently still in the first ELDA. This framework is freely available on the internet just for download. We have taken the framework and really expounded on it to make it clear, understandable, relatable to the caregivers who might be inspired to present different activities and also to enrich the lives of the children that they care for. And for this particular video, we are in ELDA1, section B. We're making progress. It is having good health. The title of today's video is called Healthy Beginnings. So we are going to be unpacking everything hygiene and cleanliness. We will look at what it is, why it's important to teach, some key features or key areas that we can focus on to really encourage participation within this area. We're going to look at some developmentally appropriate behaviors that we can target and use to our advantage. And then I've got loads of low-cost fun ideas and games that you can integrate into your day to try and stimulate learning within this area. What is hygiene? Hygiene are practices that maintain health and prevent diseases, especially through cleanliness. So whenever you talk about hygiene, you're talking about things that are clean, or how to keep things clean, or to keep us safe from disease and from illness. Let's look at some focus areas that we can look at to integrate these activities into our day-to-day life. So the first one that we have is hand hygiene and exploration. So this is going to be everything with hands. So dirty hands, how do you wash your hands? What do you wash your hands with? We could wash our hands with wet wipes, sponges, cloths, warm water, soapy water. When do you wash your hands? Before and after meals. So these are all different types of hand hygiene and exploration. That's an area that we can focus on. And then we can look at oral care basics. So the intention behind oral care basics would be to wipe gums, would be to introduce toothbrushes with supervision, obviously, and to encourage mimicry, to encourage them to copy you, to pretend to be grown-ups and to like have fun with their toothbrushes. Then we look at self-care through play. All children learn through play. So we would create playful environments where they could practice healthcare and hygiene and self-care. So this would be where they learn routine steps of wiping their faces or blowing their nose or things like that, but in a very playful, informal way. And then we can look at environmental hygiene. This would be spaces where we are in. So tidying up our play area. Is this clean or dirty? Exploring that with simple sorting items. We can wipe things down. So these are some focus areas that we can look at when we are talking about health and hygiene. Why is it important for us to teach health and hygiene to little children? So besides the obvious health, which is to protect them from diseases and illnesses, to help boost their immune system, there are lots of developmental areas that are impacted when we teach this area to children. So firstly, their independence. It boosts their autonomy. I can do this by myself. It is a human need for us to be able to be independent and for us to grow in things that we can do and become self-sufficient. So by presenting certain activities, we can really boost their independent skills and help them feel that they are their own individual that they can be proud of. which then leads us into self-esteem. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. When you have good hygiene and cleanliness practices, you feel better about yourself. You feel good. You feel proud of who you are. Then life skills and social skills. Teaching these practices to little children will really help them learn social etiquette, how to be around people, how to cough into your elbow or sneeze away from somebody, or wash your hands properly to stop spreading germs. So it will teach us lots of important social etiquette skills to help us be accepted by our social peers. Then emotional benefits. So we don't understand how important emotional development and emotional enrichment is for children, regardless of their education or where they are placed, but particularly in orphanages and children's homes. Their emotional well-being is of paramount importance. So we can increase a secure attachment. So by having these moments of engagement with the children where you are calm and gentle, perhaps you're doing a nappy change, perhaps you're washing faces or in bath time. These can be moments of connection, moments of understanding that somebody else can care for them. These are also moments to really boost that their bodies are to be valued, that they can be looked after and treated in a kind way. Many children may not have come from an environment where that is the case. So we have an opportunity to treat these children with love that will really boost their emotional development that is linked to health and hygiene practices. Excuse me. We can also develop some emotional labeling and body awareness, emotional feeling vocabulary. So how things feel. It's very important for us as caregivers to talk the children through these activities. Oh, that tickles, that feels warm, this feels rough, it's soft on my body, you don't like the smell of the soap. All of these kind of will be discussed as we continue in the video. But just by giving them the vocabulary or the words for what is actually happening with the experience that they are in will really help them know that their feelings are linked to their body and that they're able to express them, which is a very important milestone with emotional well-being. And then finally, we can look at long-term benefits. So we are creating lifelong habits. If you start brushing your teeth when you are really little, you will continue to brush your teeth when you are older. It will reduce illness, like I already said, and it can create opportunities for the children to be exposed to positive role models, which is you and I, when we are demonstrating and role-playing all of these different activities. So we need to always encourage perseverance. Don't give up. You did a great job. You really tried your best. You superstar. And endurance. Don't ever feel like we should name and shame. We mustn't ever criticize the development because they're still very young. So we need to always make sure that we're developing perseverance and endurance in these activities, but to be very mindful that our impact is lifelong in this area. We are creating habits and understanding that can really impact them for their entire lives. After looking at what hygiene is and why it's important, let's dive a little bit deeper into the different age groups. So the first age group we're looking at is babies from 1 to 12 months. These babies, how do they learn? They learn through their senses. So their eyes, their mouth, so taste, smell, hearing, and touch. And they are very open to texture and to temperature. So we can use texture, temperature, and the senses to our own advantage, especially to create enriched activities around health and hygiene. Always be mindful to try and engage all of their senses because every child is different and unique. So things that we can actually do for this age group, it's very important to model good behavior and then talk about it. Tell the children what you're doing. I sneezed into my elbow. Why? Because I don't want to spread the germs everywhere. So talking about it, singing songs, making it very informal and playful, but expressing verbally what they are doing is very helpful. That will build their vocabulary, their word bank of how to then talk about it to their own peers or be able to talk to you about it at a later stage. it says here to be positive. Create very positive and warm environments, even when it can get messy. We all know babies and health and hygiene can get messy, but to create a warm and positive environment around it, to know that it's okay, that we can always tidy up or fix whatever happened. To use soft, warm clothes where possible, gentle fragrances. So if you ever get an option to use things like chamomile or lavender, gentle, soft fragrances. Don't do anything too powerful, too strong, because some babies might find it a little bit too overwhelming for them. It's important for us to keep routines consistent. So when we have a bath time routine, that's a bath time routine. If we have a nappy change routine, it's a nappy change routine. This will create a safe environment. They know what to expect. It's very important for us to talk the children through whatever event that they are going through. If they're going through a nappy change, tell them what's happening. Use a soft, caring tone. Like I said earlier, it will create a connection, a moment of bonding that will really boost their emotional development. And from 6 to 12 months, so the little bit older ones, you can offer play items like cloths or sponges, things that they can actually manipulate, which will then really boost the learning for health and hygiene, or at least prepare them for health and learning as they get older. Moving on to the toddlers, 12 to 24 months. So these children are in a very sensory discrimination period. What does that mean? That means that they're starting to learn that there are differences in textures. There are differences in the sensations that they feel, so they can feel smooth and rough. So it's a really great idea to ensure that we are giving ample exposure to experience this, so that they have both different or two different textures to play with, or warm and cold water, for example, because they're becoming very aware of it. You can also start to notice preferences. So preferences, I like that one, or I want that cloth, not that cloth, or just things to kind of, their autonomy is building, like I spoke about earlier. So a great idea to enhance that would be to offer them a choice where possible. So if you have, for example, two different cloths, or a sponge and a washcloth, offer them a choice. Say, which one would you like to be bathed with today? So that will really boost their, I have a preference, and people listen to the things that I like. When a child suffers from, perhaps they don't like the smell, or they find it difficult to cope with a feeling on their body, it's good, again, like I mentioned earlier, to validate those feelings, to say, I know you don't really like the smell, or that kind of doesn't feel nice on your skin. It will help them understand that what they are feeling is valid, and that they are allowed to be different. Baby A might like the cloth and baby B might not like the cloth. So to able to really tell them, it's okay that you don't like this cloth. I'm using it because we have to use it to wash our bodies, but I'm going to be very gentle. It'll validate their feelings, to make them know that you are aware of how they're feeling and that you care for their feelings, but that also there's a reason behind what you are doing, and helping them within their healthcare routine. So let's kind of go through some of these ways that we can use it. I think I've mentioned already as I was just chatting. So yes, offer a choice wherever it's possible. Introduce the soft bristle brushes with supervision, and maybe some gentle soaps if it's tolerated. Lots of visual cues. So that's a way to integrate the sensory. We can have lots of pictures, which there's ideas coming up later on in this video, to really encourage, what do I do now? Oh, I have to wash my hands. Or I'm here, I have to do this. Or I'm here, this is what I should do. So it's kind of like visual prompts, visual reminders, pictures, that kind of tell the children what they are supposed to do in that particular situation. More will come just now. So 12 to 18 months, we can sing lots of hygiene songs. In fact, just sing lots of hygiene songs throughout. Lots of puppets and role play. If you don't have puppets, you can make them. If you don't know how to make them, you can use teddies. That'll kind of, children almost get lost in this world of imagination when you pop out two teddies and you pretend that they're alive and talking. So Teddy A is washing their hands and Teddy B is learning how to do it. So Teddy A is talking, this is how you do it, you first do this, you said do that, and then this one is learning and then it'll try. So that's a really fun way to reinforce the cleanliness and hygiene practices in puppets or in teddies. It says let them help during hygiene. So help is an interesting word because we all know little babies aren't really very helpful, but again, it'll boost their autonomy. If you are changing baby A and you tell toddler C, please come and won't you grab me that wet wipe packet, and they kind of toddle along and they give it to you, they would love to be involved in that and to help in the process. So if you can come up with any ideas where they can be involved and to help you, please be encouraged to do so. It's a great way to interact with them and to make the helping child feel important. And then, so 18 to 24 months, the great suggestion was to set up a hygiene station. So you can either do a wash station, or you can do a hand wash station, or you can do like a role play setting if you want. You can just set up a little cleaning area where the children can play. They can play wash hands, or they can play wash face or blow nose, or whichever area that you are actually working on. This will encourage mimicry. It'll encourage them to copy you and to play and learn about the hygiene practices that they are being exposed to in a really fun and systematic way. Let's look at the older toddlers, the 24 to 36 month toddlers. These little guys have good ability to integrate their senses or their sensory information, but they're also they should be able to regulate themselves. So in a high activity environment, for example, singing and dance, they're going to get really excited, but they also should be able to come down when we calm them. What we can notice is sometimes they might have sensory sensitivities. So they might not be, you might find some individuals don't like the very noisy environments, or they don't like very bright lights. So when we start to notice their sensory preferences, we can start to adjust the routines accordingly. So-and-so doesn't like too much of the music and dance, so we can take them out and move them into a more quieter environment. Some children don't like a lot of touch. Some children need that deep pressure, so like a big warm hug. We need to learn what our children need from a sensory perspective. So remember, our senses are our sight, our hearing, our smell, our taste, and our feelings, our tactile sense. So we need to learn the individual child's profile and how we can adjust the routines accordingly to suit their sensory needs. This again will come down a lot with the documentation when you're making your notes to be, so-and-so really doesn't like loud noises, or so-and-so really doesn't like very strong smelling soaps. They're very opposed to it. They throw tantrums, or they respond very negatively towards the situation. So then we can adjust accordingly as best we can, I understand. But it is good to be mindful of these situations. So how can we use this information to really help us with these little children? So again, adjust the sensory routines like I've just explained. We can use props and puppets whenever you do a hygiene routine. So for example, we are going to tidy up our playroom. It is so helpful if you have a song or a jingle, or you have 2 dedicated teddies or 2 dedicated puppets to be like, it's tidy up time. And so the key thing with a routine is to keep it consistent. When you keep it consistent, the children know, okay, teacher's telling us to do this, now we have to do this. It will make a safe environment and it will encourage participation, and we want them to participate in these events. Sometimes health and hygiene activities aren't really fun. Some kids don't like bath time, for example. So when we have these routines and these songs and jingles, puppets, things like that, that can kind of tell them, okay, this is what's happening next. It kind of reduces the anxiety a little bit. Another idea of a routine is to have a set time. So 5 o'clock is bath time. You can show them the time. You can have a little teddy kind of game, being like, it's 5 o'clock, it's 5 o'clock. Then they will know, okay, 5 o'clock time is bath time, or whatever routine that you have introduced for that specific time. So routines are very important. Positive and reinforcement. You want to make these hygiene experiences a positive experience. So you are doing so well. I can see you trying. Oh, look, you did that all by yourself. Like, well done. Don't stop. I'm really proud of you. All these kind of positive words and affirmations will really boost their willingness to continue to try and to get good at doing these health and cleanliness practices. During this stage, we can offer lots of sensory play. So warm water, soapy water, cold and warm. So remember the differentiation, the differences. You can give them sponges versus cloths, lots of different play items that they can really engage all of their senses. And then also we can encourage routine building, like I have already discussed. And there we have it. Those are the skills for our 3 different groups from babies to toddlers. Up next, we're going to look at a whole bunch of really low cost ideas for sensory integration. Now we're going to chat about some sensory ideas of how we can include the senses into these hygiene routines. I think I've covered a lot of them in what we've already discussed so far, but just for the sake of your understanding, we'll go through them sense by sense. And the first one is touch. So that would be your texture, so your feeling. If you could at all present opportunities where they have different experiences with touch, a soft cloth versus a rougher kind of towel, or a sponge with a cloth. You could have gentle brushes, rubbery bath toys that can also be a different kind of texture that they are feeling with their hands. So some of that deep pressure, some children find routines or the change into health and hygiene routines overwhelming. So by giving them a cuddle or a big hug before or after could regulate them, could bring them down to just a normal calm level where they're ready to participate in the event in a more neutral sensory mode. They're calm and relaxed for it. Then we can look at smell. So very strong smells aren't really advised if we don't have a choice, because that's what we have. It is a good idea to just introduce it softly and gently. Let the child smell the smell beforehand. So perhaps you have a new lotion that you're putting on the children. It would be very beneficial for you to let them smell it first, to talk to them. We have this new soap. We must be very grateful for the soap that we get. We're going to wash your body because it's going to keep you clean. So talking them through the reasons behind your choices will help lessen the pressure of it being a very, very strong smelling scent. If at all possible, opt for things like chamomile or lavender because they're gentle and they're soothing. But that's another way that we can integrate the sense in hygiene, health and hygiene practices, is the smelling of the soap, smelling of the lotion, smelling of the shampoos if you have, smelling of the soap that you wash the dishes with, all that kind of stuff, the fabric softener. These kind of things we can introduce in a very child-safe way, but just kind of includes that sense in this experience. The vision or the sight sense is quite apparent. You could take sponges and you could use different color cloths. You could use different color sponges. You can take sponges and you can cut them into different shapes and patterns. That would be another visual way to integrate that sense into health and hygiene. Lots of visual prompts and posters if you can get your hands on some, or even you can create some. You grab some magazines and find a big tap or a big soap and you stick it in the bathroom, and that's, they know when they go to the bathroom, that's what they see. It's a visual picture, and they're like, okay, now it's time for me to wash my hands. So like I also suggested earlier, if there are baby safe mirrors at hand, then they can also see what they're doing, which is really helpful, because then they can see themselves wash their hands or blow their nose, or any kind of these experiences, which are quite good to be able to see, to increase their body awareness and also what they are doing to themselves by keeping themselves clean. Sound is a tricky one, but we can play with the splashing of the water. We can play with the dripping of a tap. We could teach water conservation here, that we shouldn't hear that. But there's also lots of jingles and songs and all kinds of things that are that can be used in the health and hygiene and washing. So I will attach a few to the link below this video just for your interest if you would like. I'll just Google on YouTube. There's tons for Cocomelon and all sorts of ones like that that will help with your singing if you don't have an idea of where you can go with this. It's also suggested on your phone to, perhaps during a bath time or a nappy change, to play some calming background nature-y music, so you get birds or running water or animal sounds. It's very calming and relaxing and just can include that sense in our holistic development of these children within the area of hygiene. And then finally with taste is very tricky. Obviously we don't want children eating soap, but there are some toothpaste. Perhaps you are fortunate enough to have some toothpaste that the children could try. Otherwise you could link health and hygiene with the food video. That's the ELDA1 section A that we did. So you could do washing food and then tasting what it tastes like. But that's a way to integrate the taste, the sense of taste into health and hygiene. Now for my favorite section is the practical hands-on fun things that we can actually do with these children for this learning section. So fun, low-cost ideas for what we can do. Songs and rhymes, really fun. Sing songs, take familiar tunes, for example Twinkle Twinkle, and change it, add your own words. So instead of saying twinkle twinkle little star, you say little hands, let's wash now, or something like that. So you can change the words of what you are doing into a familiar tune or a familiar rhyme. I will attach, like I said just before now, some videos and some links to some cool songs below in the chat. Then we can do some pretend play with dollies and teddies. They can bath the dollies and teddies. They can brush their teeth. They can wash their hands. Toddlers can care for their little babies by wiping their faces. So this is really, really fun to have a section. All right, we're going to wash our teddies. We're going to have a washing dolly day. And it's a great way for them to practice their skills of what you have been doing with them in their normal day-to-day health and hygiene routines. Then they get to practice with their dollies and their teddies. Then we can do some sensory activities. So we can do sorting activities, clean versus dirty. My favorite is shoes because they really get dirty so quickly. So we could wash some shoes beforehand and then have the children sort clean shoes or dirty shoes. You can even do this with magazine pictures if you don't have availability of like resources like this. So you can cut out a bunch of clean shoes and then you can find some images of dirty things and the children can sort out the clean versus the dirty. The other idea that I came across was a texture bin. So to have just like a bucket full of all different textures. You can have cotton wool, clothes, sponges, different feeling, like those rubber toys that we were talking about. And then the children can play in that texture bin to get the different textures. But they can also sort it into different piles. So that's integrating some maths in there as well. So here are some really fun games that you could include in your activities to help enrich this area. So the first one that I came across was the Tidy Teddy game. So after a bit of playtime, we sing the Tidy Teddy song, which can be any song that you want. You can even just sing Tidy Teddy in your beautiful voice. And the toddlers have to grab their teddies and wipe their faces and put them away so neatly. So that'll really include some of the environmental cleanliness that we have to also stimulate in this area. We want them to keep their areas clean and tidy and neat. So that's a really cool game to play with them. The wash hand treasure hunt. Every children loves a treasure hunt. So what you have to do is you have to find some pictures or make some pictures. You need a tap, you need a soap, you need a towel, and then you need a treasure. So you could either draw a picture of a gem or a star, or you could actually take a child's little toy and hide it, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to stick these pictures around and you're going to hide the gem underneath the towels. So the children have to follow the treasure hunt. So they have to find the tap. What do you do at the tap? You wash your hands. The soap, they must wash their hands. They take the towel, and as they lift the towel up, there is a gem. They won. So that would be really fun. I'm sure they would love the washing hands treasure hunt. We can do the foot cleaning dance. Please be careful here about slippery surfaces, but you can have a bucket where you have some warm soapy water, some soft towels at the end, and then the kids can kind of go in there and splash with their feet, and then maybe put some cool splashy music on, and the children can have a feet washing party. Feet washing is a very important health and hygiene to learn. Foot health is very important. So that's a really fun idea. We have water painting. So this is literally zero cost. There's water and you paint. You either can go outside on the surface, or you can paint cardboard boxes, or you can paint walls because it dries. So what you could do is you create this like fun imagination story where there's the wall that's full of germs and you have to wash it away with the water paint. So that will be really fun to do for the children, and the best is there is no mess for that activity. So that's a great one. And then the last one that I thought of was to get the children involved in some songs. So kids are very creative. They love to sing, especially if they're exposed to lots of singing and lots of rhymes and things like that. So let them come up with their own song, and then maybe record it or incorporate it into your routine. So for perhaps they've got like a wipe teddy, and they want to come up with their own wipe teddy song, and then they build the wipe teddy song, and you as caregivers learn that song, and then you can really help them and use that as a part of your routine, which will really inspire them to be involved once again. So that's really cool. Just wanted to add about the charts and the visual routines. It works really nicely with that hand washing treasure hunt. So you don't have to make a million different things. If you just make 1 or 2 taps, soaps, towels. The other routine would be bath time. Have a picture of a bath, draw a picture of a bath, teeth, the oral hygiene, a tidy room, which would be like a box with a teddy inside. So these are the kind of, when I spoke about visual charts and visual things to look at, you would basically put pictures around where the children are. So let's say, for example, you want to do the cleaning area. You would have pictures of a teddy in a box, and then you could tell the children, right, so we've sung our song that you've just created, it's really awesome, and you're going to point to the picture and say, what time is it now? It's time to put your teddies in the box. So you could have a picture, very simple steps. Remember, like I said, teddy, box, teddy in box, so that they can see, okay, now it's time for me to tidy up. So those kind of visual charts and visual routines. For the washing hands would be great with the tap and the soap and the sponge, like on the screen you can see ahead of you. Please message me if you would like any more ideas. I'm quite creative. I'll think of a whole bunch of different ones for you guys. So yeah, that is the idea section for today. I hope you have been well inspired, and I hope you think about 1 or 2 of them that you can integrate. Please don't forget that we have the 4 areas, so the hand washing, the oral hygiene, the play, and the environmental cleanliness. So it's important to include all of them, and perhaps on a daily basis. So maybe you could think of a way that you want to integrate an activity around hand washing, integrate an activity around oral hygiene, around playing with their teddies and the toys, like washing or wiping noses or things like that, to help you in the routines, and then also environmental cleanliness. And one last thing before we go, on the 15th of October is Global Hand Washing Day. So this is a really great way to get cleanliness and health and hygiene as almost like a theme. You could do a week theme, you could do a day theme, you could really spend some time preparing for this event. If you don't happen to make it on the 15th of October, then it's really not a train smash. You could include it in a different time of the year. But it is a really great way to celebrate a global activity that everybody in the world is focusing on. So I've attached a picture there of the correct hand washing practices. This is for adults. We don't expect our children to wash our hands like this, but just so that you know how to appropriately wash your hands with soap. You see the fingers and the outside and the thumb. So yeah, I really hope that you use some of the ideas that we have, that I've just shown you or inspired you to use, and make a whole day, create an event, create a week, create an awareness around it, and just have fun with this hand washing day and just clean hands for a week. Could you imagine? That's it for today. We have popped all of our bubbles. What did we do today? Let's quickly recap. We spoke about what hygiene is, why it's important to teach. We looked at some key areas for us as carers to focus on. We looked at developmental areas for each of the different age groups. We spoke about some sensory focused activities, and then we looked at a couple of low cost activities for us to include, and obviously a welcome to celebrate World Global Washing Hands Day on the 15th of October. So I really hope that you can take some valuable information and inspiration out of this video, that you apply some of the knowledge to your day-to-day practices. Know that your work is so valuable, and that every day you are making an impact, a bigger impact than you know, in the lives of these children. So I just wanted to ask you to don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share with other orphanages or children's homes that you may know of or who may benefit from this video. I thank you so much, and I really hope you enjoyed it. God bless, and we'll see you next time.